The way you feel now is not the way you're going to feel forever. I know it feels like the worst thing that has ever happened to you. I know it feels like it's ruining your life. I know it's a piece of the story that you don't ever want in there. And just wrapping your head around the idea that this is permanently part of my story is so painful. But what I really want you to know is there is more than just life on the other side. This is not something that you're going to bury and pretend never existed. It's going to become a part of your journey, a part of your story in unanticipated ways. And there's a lot of joy. There's a lot of connection. There's a lot of goodness coming. And I know that you can't see it now. And I know that you probably aren't even believing me because I'm not sure if I would have believed it. But please know there's really, really good stuff on the other side.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Lipkowitz, and with over 12 years of meditation experience as a mindfulness trainer and coach for high performers, I've become obsessed with helping people break free from compulsive, unhealthy behaviors and addictions and step into a life of true freedom so that they can finally become their best selves and cultivate deeper and lasting fulfillment. I've created Unhooked, the Breaking Porn Addiction podcast, to give you simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies to master your mind and optimize your life. This is Unhooked. Today on Unhooked, I'm speaking with someone whose story and work bring a powerful, compassionate lens to the complex topic of betrayal and what it means to heal on the other side of it. Lora Cheadle is a betrayal recovery coach, an attorney, and the host of the Flaunt podcast. After discovering her husband's 15-year affair, Lora rebuilt her life and now helps others, whether betrayed or betrayer, navigate the aftermath of betrayal. In this conversation, we dive into some of the most misunderstood and under-discussed aspects of betrayal, addiction, and relational healing. Expect to learn what betrayal really means and how it impacts your sense of identity, not just your relationship, how to rebuild trust after it's been shattered, both with a partner and with yourself, what the betrayed and the betrayer each need to understand to move toward healing, how shame, emotional disconnection, and coping mechanisms like porn can drive cycles of secrecy and hurt, and why recovery isn't about perfection, but about direction. Whether you've experienced betrayal yourself or you've been the one who broke the trust, this episode will give you insight, hope, and some tangible practices for navigating the healing journey. And as always, if you're struggling with compulsive porn use, I want to remind you that help is available. At Unhooked Academy, we support men in breaking free from shame and compulsive behavior and building lives of integrity, connection, and purpose. If that's something you're ready for, head to unhookedacademy.com to learn more. And now, without further ado, please enjoy my conversation with Lora Cheadle. So hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Unhooked podcast. Today with a new guest, Lora Cheadle. Lora, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
What would you say is the context someone would need to know about you and about your story to really understand the heart of your work?
That's a great question. I think the biggest context is it was completely unanticipated. I never thought I would be here, as is the case, I think, with so many people. I am a former corporate attorney. After 23 years of marriage, I found out that my partner had been cheating on me, multiple affairs, multiple, all the things. Completely blindsided me. It was something I knew nothing about. It was something that I had a lot of shame and confusion and misunderstanding about. Through the process of healing together, I have really learned about addiction. I have learned about betrayal. I have learned about shame. I have learned about loving somebody through an addiction and how to maintain your own boundaries and how to not abandon somebody, but also not show up in a codependent manner. And, even though I'm 8 years through this, 8 years into this, it's something that is also ever evolving because life is ever evolving.
Mm. Yeah, so a lot of topics that I want to be diving into later on, but I want to, first just go back to that moment in your life where everything fell apart. That moment where you kind of discovered what was going on. What was
Mhm.
going through your mind, and how did that shape some of the work that you do now?
Yeah, it was a series of discoveries. I found a questionable text where there was flirting and a lot of sexting going on. And then that was explained away. Oh, well, you're a flirty person and you have all these friends, and I just wanted some attention and validation too. And it was like, oh, okay, I get that because, yeah, it's fun to flirt. It's fun to connect. It's fun. But inside, I'm thinking, well, it's really crossing the line a little more than just, hey, how are you today? Type of flirty behavior. That's trading pictures, trading what I want to do to you. That's a different story. 6 months later, I found out about a physical affair. And then again, that all comes crumbling down. Well, what do you mean? And what's going on? And why were you not thinking about me? And what about our family? And how could you be physical with somebody? And then that was kind of explained away. Oh, she was our financial planner secretary of all things. And she was enamored with me and she wanted a sugar daddy. Okay, that kind of gets explained away a little bit. And then I found an email from 15 years, actually from 14 years prior, from a woman who is a friend saying, I can't wait. It's almost our 1 year anniversary. I can't wait to see you. Well, this was a person I know he was in contact with all the time and would go out to see when he visited his family because she was a friend. So with that discovery, then came, what else are you not telling me? And then that's other affairs, other flirtation, signing up on, various websites, paying in strip clubs, just all the things.
Mm,
And I felt like I was in a horror movie because it was not ever ending.
mm,
And I kept hearing the exact opposite of what I thought I would hear because that's not who he was and that's not who we were. And it didn't make sense.
mm. And I guess that's
Didn't
part
make
of the
sense.
betrayal is the feeling like this is not the person that I thought he was.
Right. Right. Because I thought he was a high integrity person. I thought we had a really good relationship. I thought we communicated and talked. And it's like literally the sense of who are you, followed closely by how stupid can I be? And if
Mm,
I couldn't have even sensed this, if I didn't even have a clue, what else am I missing? What else am I missing? And how can I ever trust you again?
I imagine that's like, because it sounds like there were many little moments where the armor started to crack, or the different incidents, but it kept getting explained away. He kept staying in denial. Was it because you had this story that, oh no, he's a person of integrity? This couldn't be what's going
Yeah.
on. Mm,
Yes. That was a huge part of it because we had been together. We had been married 23 years. We had been married 3 years before that. We had kids. We had a life. And it was like, why, why wouldn't I know if
mm,
you were not happy? If you were not happy, wouldn't you tell me? I'm your wife. If you had a problem, I'm your wife. Shouldn't I be the first person that you would come to? So, yes, on the one hand, I would explain it away because it didn't make sense. But also looking back on it, there were things I didn't know how to handle. So I hate to say I chose to not see them,
mm,
but it was like I wouldn't have known what to do with it anyway. And
mm.
life is really busy and you're doing things and family and career and jobs. And it was like, you can't just give me that and expect me to know what to do with it. So it's just easier to be like, clearly I'm seeing this wrong because it makes no sense and just dismissing it.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about the word betrayal, because it comes up a lot in the work that you do, and the work that I do, but particularly the work that you do is a lot around betrayal. What does that mean?
As a lawyer, I always begin with definitions, so I'm glad that you asked that. The definition of betrayal is the breaking of an expectation, but not any expectation. The breaking of an expectation that you have relied on, that you have built your life on. That, when it's broken, it ruptures either your view of yourself, it ruptures your identity, or it ruptures your worldview. So it's not like, oh, darn, it's raining outside and I really wanted a sunny day. It's a breaking of how I thought the world should be. It's a breaking of the narrative that I have about myself and who I am and what my marriage and my life should be.
Mm. Is there some component of betrayal? Because I can imagine kind of different ways of coming at this. Like, obviously, if I had an expectation that my partner was going to do the dishes and then she doesn't do the dishes, that's not betrayal, right? That's
No.
a expectation that gets let down.
Yeah.
But there is this kind of maybe a belief about who they are that maybe gets shattered. Does there need to be some kind of complicity in the part of the betrayer in terms of covering it on purpose? Or tell me a
No.
little bit about that. Yeah.
No, and I'm so glad that you asked that because I can feel betrayed and I can experience betrayal regardless of if I was actually betrayed or not.
Mm.
And that's something that actually comes up in the workplace a lot. We have these expectations that after a year, I'll get a bonus. I will get a raise. There'll be a path to, whatever. And then when suddenly we're let go, there is the sense of betrayal. We were never promised the corner office after 5 years.
Mhm.
We just have these expectations and assumptions that if I do a good job, I'll continue to progress in my career. And then when that happens, through no fault of the company, maybe they're shutting down, maybe they're cutting costs, we're having a recession, whatever. It's a sense of betrayal and it's the experience of betrayal, but there does not have to be any actual betrayal there.
Mm. When it comes to relationships and kind of betrayal, trauma, and all these things, are there different kinds of betrayal? I think I saw in some of your work, there's kind of like physical or
Yes.
emotional.
Yes, financial, all sorts of betrayal. Any expectation that you have about your partner, about your relationship. I expected fidelity. I never thought that I would have to sit down with my partner and expressly say, fidelity means no sex, no flirting, no kissing, no dancing, no sexting, no sending images, no chat rooms. Like, who really does that? You know what I mean? We just have these expectations in our mind about what it means. Porn use, is that cheating or not? Some people think it is. Some people think it's not. Some people think unless it's with a real person, it's not cheating. You get to define it for yourself, but in a partnership, it's imperative that the partners discuss what do I expect? What does fidelity mean? Because if I say to you, I want intimacy, my version of intimacy might be different than yours. Mine is going to include physical. It's going to include emotional. It's going to include intellectual. What I mean by that is, how do we hold space for each other? How do we hug? Where somebody else might be thinking, oh, I just want sex 3 times a week. That's it. It's
Mhm.
communicating so we have a common understanding. So we have a meeting of the minds as to what we expect from each other. And that seems so unnatural and not romantic, but it's really essential to strong relationships.
Yeah. I'd love to dive into kind of the felt experience of betrayal. And the reason that I want to dive into this is that, in particular, a lot of the guys that I work with, they have an experience of betraying their partner's trust and
Yes.
they struggle with empathizing. They kind of know that maybe what they did is wrong or out of integrity, but they don't. Sometimes there's a struggle to really kind of understand the depths of the pain of betrayal. And I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about just what it feels like.
I would love to. It's a very visceral feeling. When your partner says she feels like she's been gutted, that's not just words. You feel like a knife was inserted in your chest and drugged to your gut, and you feel like your insides are falling out. You feel like, what did I do wrong? How did I not know how stupid I was? How did I not know how ugly I was? How did I know how worthless I was? And it's like your entire insides literally are draining out of you. It's like you feel the blood drop. You feel everything go, and everything comes crashing down around you. And I think what is even worse about that is you want to go to your person for comfort because you have been shattered. Your whole head, your eyes feel like they're bugging out of your head. Your head feels like it's going to explode. And I needed my husband. I needed to be held. I needed to cry. I needed that. And in the same breath, I needed to get away from him because he was the one that did this to me. And there was this push-pull inside that then makes you go, oh my God, I'm crazy. I am so crazy. I don't even know what I want. And then since you feel crazy and you already realize I can't even trust my own instincts, you feel helpless all at the same time.
Mm. What do you wish more men understood about betrayal?
Oh, there's so much that I wish they understood. This might come out of left field. What I really wish men understood about betrayal was it's not a death sentence. It's not the end.
Mm. Mm.
Betraying somebody is actually a common thing to do. And I don't mean that to say, oh, you're off the hook. It's okay. Everybody does it. I mean, the betrayal is a very common human experience. People
Mm.
betray and people get betrayed, and we don't talk about it. So there's a lot of shame around it.
Mm.
And what is more important, I think, for people to know is that once you start moving back into that place of integrity, in that space of connecting with your emotions and communicating, that's where a lot of beauty begins. That's where a lot of healing begins. It is possible to repair your relationship if your partner wants to. You can have a better relationship on the other side of this if that's what you both want. And if it's not what you want, you can still go forward and be not only a better partner, but a better human. Because what I really wish betrayers knew is you're not betraying the other person more than you're betraying yourself. If you see yourself as a strong person of integrity, this is a violation against who you are. And that's painful. And I can empathize with that. And other people can too. So it's connecting with all parts of you and being vulnerable and getting through this to become the man that you know that you are, to become the man that you want to be.
Yeah, beautiful. I think that's so important that it's not a death sentence. It's not the end of the story. And I think that message is really healing because a lot of guys, when they get caught, they've maybe been living out of integrity for years, if not decades. And that moment of getting caught makes them want to, as it sounded like it was with your partner, kind of
Yeah.
deny and run away or get angry and get
Oh yeah,
violent
it's
and
my
all the wrong
fault.
things. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So I think that's important. On that topic of shame or kind of hiding or turning away from the experience of betrayal, I know a lot of people hide from their pain or try to just hide the pain of betrayal from others. And I'm curious what made you decide to speak so publicly about this after your own experience.
Yeah, there were several different reasons. First of all, it frustrates me so much when things aren't talked about and when they're common things.
And I
Misogyny.
mean, that's why I do this. I mean, porn is one of the
Exactly.
most common things and nobody talks about, which is why I have
No,
this podcast. So
nobody
I
talks
get it.
about it. Yeah, and it's like I've always been in that space of being a disruptor. I went to law school because I'm a big believer in justice and I want to create justice in the world. And part of that is whether it's, misogyny, racism, sexism, porn use, affairs, cheating, like, oh my God, let's just talk about it. There's nothing wrong with us. These are all common human experiences. Feeling shame is a common human experience. Having mental health challenges is a common human experience. And what stays in the dark grows and flourishes and gets worse and icky and gross and breeds more shame. And when we move things into the light, it's not fun to feel feelings. It's just not. But when we feel them, then we can be witnessed by other people. And that being witnessed is also extraordinarily healing. And that was at first when I went out, I'm like, I am showing my pain, not to vomit it out, but because I want to be seen and I want to be held. And I want people to know what I'm going through. And if I have to be the first one up the mountain blazing this trail, I'm going to be, because this is right. And I'm about justice.
Mm. As you started to get into this kind of topic more from the place of wanting to help others and wanting to understand how to heal and recover, was there something missing in the support that you received in your journey that made
Yes.
you kind of, what was
Yes.
missing?
There was a lot missing. People don't understand. People don't understand addiction. They don't understand that kind of living out of integrity. There's so much blame on the person who cheats. Why didn't you do a better job? Can't you just man up? No. If they could have done a better job, they would have. If they could have been in touch with their emotions, they would have. If they could have communicated something, they would have. Nobody wants to go into maladaptive coping mechanisms. Nobody wants that. Unless you're a psychopath, nobody wants to go down these paths. It's just that they go down because they're desperate to feel better. So where is the understanding about how do we get people to feel better then? And then there was this huge shame for me. You want to stay? What's wrong with you? Do we need to work on your self-worth? No, no, actually we don't. I am willing to stay in the fire. I'm willing to walk through this and see where it goes. I am not going to stay forever because, oh my gosh, this is my man. But I'm a human and I see his pain. And can we heal together? And if we can't, that's fine too. But where is my support? Walking along with this person who is doing all of this stuff. And where is his support that's not about the affair? Because it's not about the affair. That's the coping mechanism. I don't care if it's drinking or porn or prostitutes or what it is. That's a coping mechanism for something deeper. Let's address the root. And nobody wanted to address the root. And it drove me insane.
Mm. Yeah. You're probably familiar with Gabor Mate. He has that beautiful quote where he says, we shouldn't ask why the addiction, but why the pain. Understanding that it's not about the addictive behavior. It's not about the coping mechanism. It's about, okay, what's the underlying pain that caused this, as you say, the maladaptive coping mechanism.
Yeah. Yeah. Because everything's a coping mechanism. Working out's a coping mechanism. Breath work is a coping mechanism. So is gambling. So is they're all coping mechanisms. Is it healthy? Does it work for you? Or does it create more damage? And does it make you feel guilty and shame-ridden?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a great reframe. It's one of the things I talk about a lot in my community is just understanding the concept of skillful versus unskillful, like getting out of this, good versus evil, good or bad, but like, okay, is this a skillful action? Is it moving you in the direction you want? Or is it unskillful? Is it causing harm to yourself or to other people? You mentioned understanding addiction, and that was an important part of your journey. And I'm really curious to understand or learn kind of how do you balance, particularly as someone that's been on the other side of betrayal, how do you balance compassion towards the addict with also understanding accountability and boundaries and, expectations of appropriate behavior?
Mm-hmm. You do it carefully and you do it in every moment and you make mistakes and then you give yourself and your partner grace for making the mistakes. How I balance it is, what is the trajectory that we are on? Is he growing? Is he taking accountability? Are we on the up and up? For the most part. I understand that things can happen. Cheating, again, no, we're not going there again. But other behaviors, other things, is he still trying? When he gets defensive and angry and frustrated, I now know it's not me. He's got something inside that he is struggling with. I can be compassionate around that, and I can ask, what do you need? Do you need help? Just this week, we've had a very difficult week this week. And he said, I just need alone time. Wonderful. I don't, but I can respect that you've asked me for that. But until before, a couple days before that, I need alone time. There was some stressful days, and I'm thinking, what the heck? What's going on? So it's not like I expect perfection. It's not like you should expect perfection, but which direction are you going? Are you learning? Are you making repair more quickly than you were before? Are you talking about your needs, your wants, desires more often and with greater depth than you were
Mm,
before? So, or are you continuing to blame? Are you continuing to shame? Which way are you going? And look
mm,
at things over time. It's not like 3 strikes you're out, at least for me. It's not like you have a week, you have a month. It's where are we going on this journey? And is this journey going somewhere where I want? Or is it going somewhere that I am not willing to tolerate and I will not go there again? And
mm.
I have to know that for myself. I can't expect my partner to know that for me.
Yeah, I like that. Are we moving in the right direction? Like,
Yeah.
are things improving? They don't have to be improving at the most rapid pace. It's not like you have to be perfect tomorrow, but, are we getting better at communicating? Are you, moving in the right direction? I think that's
Mhm.
that's a good reframe. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
What are, when it comes to healing or rebuilding trust after betrayal, what are some of the common mistakes that couples make in that healing process?
Yeah, I think one of the most common mistakes is thinking it's about each other and when really it's about yourself. How do I learn how to hold myself? How do I learn how to trust myself? And that's for both the betrayer and the betrayed. That's for both people. It's not necessarily what the other person can do for me, but it's what am I going to do when the other person doesn't do that? How do I stand in my power? How do I make my boundaries permeable enough to bring somebody in a loving and appropriate way? And yet still realize at the end of the day, it's my relationship with myself that matters the most. It's my trust of myself. I like to talk about unbroken promises, and we think about unbroken promises to and from each other. But what are those unbroken promises that I make to myself? I will never abandon myself again. That's a big one. What does that mean? Well, for me, it means sometimes sleep. It means working out. It means eating. It means healthy behaviors because we all break promises to ourselves, but start being aware of that because if I broke a number of promises that I break to myself to somebody else, they're not going to trust me. So if I say, oh, I don't feel like working out today. Oh, I'm just going to grab that chocolate for dinner. I'm just going to go through the drive-thru. Wow, Starbucks looks great. I've just broken like 5 promises to myself in one day. I'm not trustworthy to myself. We are the only ones who can care for ourselves. Make and keep promises to yourself. Create the healthiest version of yourself. And that's when you can start trusting somebody else again. It's not when they do for you. It's what you do for you.
Mm. Wow, that's a really interesting thought. As you were saying that, I was just thinking about because I'm a very trustworthy person when it comes to other people. I
Yes.
always, if I say I'm going to be somewhere, I'm there. If I say I will pick them up, I'll pick them up. It's very hard for me to let other people down. But when I reflect on how often I let myself down on the promises I make for myself, it's like, I'm going to be so good on my diet this week. And then it's like, oh, that cookie, really sounds good. Maybe I'll just slip. And
Yeah.
like you said, if we broke our promises to other people as often as we break them to ourselves,
Ugh.
and it's a great reflection of like, okay, can I treat myself with integrity and respect the same way I treat others?
Mm-hmm.
I want to dive into this a little bit because, when you said it's not about what the other person is doing, it's about kind of what I'm doing and how am I, handling this. And I could imagine that there are, people out there listening who have been betrayed and might
Mhm.
be hearing that and thinking, how dare you say that this is more work that I have to do? He's the one who messed up,
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit about that.
Ugh.
Like, what's the balance there?
Yeah, that took me so long to wrap my head around too. I'm like, I didn't have childhood trauma. I didn't step outside the marriage. Now why is my life blowing up? You have to fix it. You have to fix it. And it took so long to get out of his business and to get into my own. And here's the thing. Maybe you don't have trauma. I didn't have childhood trauma. I'm not unpacking stuff. You know what I mean? I'm, quote, normal. But what are the behaviors that I'm doing? Self-abandonment. That's a big one. I was performing. I was a perfectionist. Like I was working to earn my love. I was working to prove my worth. I didn't even see it. I had no idea that I was doing that. And it was really a gift in a lot of ways to finally start getting out of his business and to get into my own and to be like, wow, there's some things here that I would like to address. I don't want to go around over explaining myself and proving how good I am. That's exhausting. I am better than that. And I can address that for me. And then when I am in that place of, I don't have to pander, I don't have to get you to love me. I get to show up because I'm worthy of love and I don't have to perform for it. And my marriage doesn't need to be transactional. Then it sets the stage also for a better relationship. If he's not willing to give me what I need, if he doesn't love me like that, then I don't want to be in the relationship because I want the highest level of love because I know I deserve it and I know I don't have to earn it. And when both partners are there and you're there by choice, it's just healthier, it's happier, and there's a lot less drama.
Mm. So I guess what I'm hearing is that, on mm, the women's side, or whether I guess we don't have to be so kind of
Yeah,
heteronormative about this, but on the betrayed person's side, part of this process is reclaiming your power and kind of,
absolutely.
oh, but I'm curious from the person who betrayed the trust, what does the work look like for that person?
Oh, that's a lot. Because again, it's getting to the root of the pain. In in my situation, because that's what I can speak to, from personal experience. Okay, we have to repair sexual trust. We have to repair emotional trust. We have to repair the marriage. But then why did this go wrong in the first place? Communication. He didn't have access to his emotions. He had to go through like empathy training and to figure out how to see things from somebody else's point of view. This all stemmed from severe childhood trauma and neglect. Okay, well, now he has to start realizing what was that impact? Why am I defensive? What what does this mean to me? And he had a lot of severe abuse, very severe abuse. And then it's like, how do you access the tears? And then how do you access the pain? And then how do you make it so the pain doesn't overwhelm you? And he's been through EMDR and he's been through therapy and he's been through group programs. And, we've done marriage workshops and it's all the things. He's gotten into meditating. He's gotten into, some of the mindfulness. We live in Colorado. He goes out and hikes. He needs that connection outside just with nature in the morning. He's journaling. It's so many different things. And it's not necessarily prescriptive because everybody's pain is born from something different. And we all heal at different rates. And we all have also access to different professionals at different times. Sometimes a group will not work for you. Sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I've been participating in this group for 3 weeks. I got nothing out of it. By your fourth week, you're like, oh, something unlocked and I get it. It's having at it and having at it and just keep trying. And also being really patient that you don't just heal. You can't think your way through trauma. You have to feel your way through trauma. And it's not fun. And you will backslide. And it will be frustrating. And you're still going to get in fights with your partner. And you're still going to screw things up. But what are your new tools to breathe through that? And I think a big, big, big piece of it that we don't just tend to talk about is you have to get uncomfortable feeling that pain. You have to get uncomfortable with this uncertainty and with this icky feeling, and you just have to breathe through it. And there's no shortcut around that.
Yeah, the getting comfortable with feeling uncomfortable emotions is a big part of the work that I do with men as well. It was a big part of my healing journey, and like you say, there's so much that a man can do, connecting with nature, meditating, journaling, exploring what happened in his past. If you are working with a couple, let's say a couple comes to you to work through some betrayal, what are the signs that you look for in the man to see that, hey, he's actually taking this seriously and they're on a good path? Like, what do you look for in that person?
Mm-hmm. I wish it was easier just to be able to say, oh, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if 3 out of these 5, then it's going to work. It's more a curiosity, a willingness. Are they showing up differently? That's the biggest thing that I say to people. Are they showing up differently? What has changed? And I mean really fundamentally, what has changed? Are they not as defensive? What are they doing in place of being defensive? What is that pattern interrupt that they're doing before they explode in anger? Do you see them trying to do a mini meditation? Do you see them asking for a timeout? What are the pattern interrupts? What are the changes? What is different? And for each couple, it's different. But when they can tell me what I'm doing is, it doesn't work every time, but what I'm doing is, and can you help me figure out some other things? That's when I know, okay, this is a go. They're interested in learning something and they're trying, because the knowledge in the head is one thing, but letting it drop into your heart and then flow into your everyday actions, something totally different.
Yeah, exploring the body and getting in tune with emotions in the body is a big one. I like some of these other ones you said, like, are they getting less defensive? So guys, if you're listening, listen up. Stop being so defensive. Be really curious and interested to learn, to improve yourself, to have empathy for your partner, be curious about what's going on. I think these are some great things.
Hold your partner.
Yeah.
It's like simple things like hug your partner, hold hands, make eye contact. One of the things that I have my couples do, and it's so simple and it's so beautiful, put your hand on each other's heart, look into each other's eyes, and just do like 3 to 5 breaths. Can you stay with that intensity? It brings beautiful connection. And if you as the betrayer ask your partner to do that, oh my gosh, it's going to melt each of your hearts, and it's going to bring in this beautiful connection, and it's going to make you each more willing. So ask for intimate moments like that, non-sexual intimate moments.
On this topic of kind of things that people can do together, we talked a little bit about what healing looks like individually. You mentioned kind of there are some separate individual healing things we need to do, but I imagine a part of this is things that are done together.
Yeah.
What are some of those things that couples can do together?
Something that I really love people to do together is to, if you like writing, you can do it digitally, you can do it on paper, but have a journal that goes back and forth. So I can write down my feelings, I can write down my fears, I can write down my emotions. So now I'm not flooding you at a time where you're going to get defensive because you can't handle it. I write it all down. The journal stays on the nightstand. It stays wherever. You pick it up when you have capacity. You can read what I write. You can write what is going on with you. I'm afraid about this. I'm out of control here. I don't know what's going on here. You can respond and you can write. And that way you're each expressing what you need to express in the moment, but you're receiving it when you were able to receive it and hold it. So you're not triggering each other. Because I know that's big for so many people, especially, again, not to be gender specific, but so often women are pursuing men and men are getting defensive and stonewalling and shutting down. And this is a tool that can help you each get your needs met in the moment.
Why, you just mentioned that so often it's the women pursuing men. Why do you think there is a bit of this gendered split on that dynamic?
Yeah. I think it's cultural. I think just in general, and again, different cultures around the world do things a little bit differently, but in general, little girls are talked to more. Little girls have more eye contact. Little girls are raised to be more verbal. It's okay to cry. It's okay to express emotions. Little girls squeal. Boys, it's be a man, don't cry, walk it off. Effeminate men, don't show your emotions. And men tend to have less access to these feelings. They have less eye contact. They're hugged less as little boys. So we're just raised differently. I think we're more the same inside, but it's our cultures.
Yeah, I remember recently on some other podcast hearing about just kind of how people stand, and that women, when they stand, will stand facing each other to have a conversation, and men stand at like this 75-degree angle, kind of both looking off into the distance, because standing in front of a man and looking directly, eye contact is just uncomfortable. Yeah. But it's wild how we do this so subconsciously. Like if you were to ask a man and say, "Hey, do you do this on purpose?" He'd say no, but when you go out in public and look at it, you just see it everywhere. That this is just kind of, so it's really deeply ingrained, some of these things.
Yes, it really is. And like that, we don't understand the impact that we're having on our partner. And that's one of the things too. Like I'll tell my partners, when you're having a conversation, can you face each other? You don't have to lock eyes and stare each other down, but can you be looking at each other? Can you put your phones down? If your partner's constantly on their phone, we don't multitask. That's rude. That's disrespectful. And we feel that. So how can you be fully present? Even if you're only capable of being fully present for 3 minutes, give your partner 3 minutes and then take a break and then come back for 3 minutes and then take a break.
Yeah. I wonder if there's also kind of a component of a little bit of a give and take of like both parties coming to meet the other where they feel safest. Like I could imagine in a couple, in a partnership, saying, "Hey, okay, for 10 minutes, let's have a conversation where we're eye to eye and looking directly at each other." And then for the man's sake, it's like, let's also do a little bit of like, let's go for a walk together where we're both looking in the same direction, because that might make the man feel maybe more safe to talk if it's not this like confrontational, look me in the eyes and tell me how you're feeling kind of thing.
Yes. I love that you said that, because we did a lot of healing. We've got a hike that we go on, and it's an hour and a half hike, and we would take that hike and talk things out. And you're also, I think it's important to physicalize when you've got a lot of tension in a conversation, to not stay still, but to move, to walk, to shake your arms, to shake your hands, to breathe. Because when we lock down the body physically, we lock down our emotions, and then we flood because we're not processing, we're not digesting. So being aware of the somatic piece of how to move your body to have a hard conversation is really important too.
Yeah. If someone is listening to this conversation right now and they're in the thick of it, of betrayal, whether they're the one who has been hurt or the one who, hurt someone else, what's the most important thing that you would want them to hear?
The way you feel now is not the way you're going to feel forever. I know it feels like the worst thing that has ever happened to you. I know it feels like it's ruining your life. I know it's a piece of the story that you don't ever want in there. And just wrapping your head around the idea that this is permanently part of my story is so painful. But what I really want you to know is there is more than just life on the other side. This is not something that you're going to bury and pretend never existed. It's going to become a part of your journey, a part of your story in unanticipated ways. And there is a lot of joy. There is a lot of connection. There is a lot of goodness coming. And I know that you can't see it now. And I know that you probably aren't even believing me because I'm not sure if I would have believed it. But please know there is really, really good stuff on the other side.
I think that's a beautiful message of hope, for people that are in the thick of it. Yeah. Well, amazing. I guess final question for you is if people want to learn more about the work that you do or find some of the resources that you have on this topic, where should people connect with you online?
A couple different places. My website is loracheadle.com, and that's LORACHEADLE. Also, I've got a betrayal recovery guide, which is a free guide. It's got some short meditation. It's got a somatic processing. It's got a lot of great resources for anybody who has been betrayed to just walk them through and to try new things. It's also could be very useful for the betrayer too, because it's about processing emotions and that whole concept of, did you betray yourself? And you could grab that at betrayalrecoveryguide.com.
Amazing. And do you also have a podcast?
I do. My podcast is called Flaunt, Create a Life You Love After Infidelity or Betrayal. And yes, it is geared for the betrayed woman, but it's also a great resource for understanding because periodically I'll also speak to the betrayer, and my husband will come on the show as well and share his insights from somebody who has also walked the journey.
Wow, amazing. Sounds like a fascinating podcast. Yeah. Amazing. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show and sharing your story and talking about some of the work you do. I think this will be a really important episode, particularly for, people who have been betrayed, but also for, people on the betray side of it. So thanks again for coming on. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right, folks, that's it for today. We will catch you guys on the next episode of Unhooked.